What's going on, people? Good evening. Welcome to United View and welcome to your Manchester United transfer update. Part two of today. Part two. We had the 9 a.m. show, 6 p.m. show. Part two. Big up to the community. Smash a like on the video if you guys are watching for the first time as well. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and links in the video description below to get your tickets to the 100k subscriber party and our first birthday, 19th of June, London's O2 Arena, Tocker Social, interactive football space, games, music, DJing, whatever. Owen on the dance floor. It's all there. It's all
I don't know if you've seen, DJ's been talking a little bit of smack. Have you seen that?
No, what's he said? Oh, something, putting up a trophy saying my football credentials or something like this.
Yeah, and he was sort of putting up some clips of when he was last there, go and have a look at my touch and all this kind of thing. I'm like, all right.
Okay. One of them.
Yeah.
We'll see if he's got it when the pressure's on, when everyone's there. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, get your tickets, guys.
I don't. I'll admit it. I've said my touch is terrible. I played in goal. That's not my deal. I'm De Gea.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the only reason why you get in goal. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Exactly.
But there is going to be video evidence. Everyone's still going to laugh at you. You can't get out of that.
Whatever.
De Jong ultimatum. We're going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about a bid incoming for Christopher Nkunku. Obviously, we spoke earlier about the interest. We've got further developments throughout the day, which is suggesting that a bid could be incoming within the next week or so. And it isn't a foregone conclusion that RB Leipzig won't sell because they've got Champions League. But a lot of people voicing their, opinions, sort of saying, why would Nkunku even want to come to Man United with the teams that are chasing him? Chelsea is supposedly interested, and obviously RB Leipzig are in the Champions League as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's talk about the Frankie de Jong situation, Owen. And the reports are suggesting that Manchester United have basically gone in now and said, listen, mate, this is ultimatum time. Do you want to leave or do you not want to leave? Because we've got a busy summer. So a de Jong ultimatum has been given. What's your thoughts on that?
Good. Honestly, good. I think I see that as nothing but a positive, because how many times in the past have we chased players throughout the entire summer or winter transfer window, but primarily over the summer, and we know it's not going to happen? Or we know, from a Man United fan's point of view, going, why do they think they're going to do that? Like, that player doesn't seem interested, or why would he want to leave that club? Or he's got other options available to him. Like, I remember when we were going after Cesc Fabregas one summer. This was maybe 10 years ago or something.
That, yeah.
And it was just, and the whole time, I remember everyone sort of going, but he's not leaving, and he doesn't want to leave. And we just had almost this arrogance at the time from a Manchester United perspective of, but we're Man United. If we come in for a player, they're going to be interested. They're going to want to come to us. And this is what I was kind of talking about the other day, whereby that doesn't really exist anymore. I know, as United fans, of course, we revere the club, and if it was us in that position and Man United came in for a transfer offer for you or I don't know why they would, but if they came in, you would go, of course, yeah, dream club. But it doesn't necessarily work like that. And I do prefer the idea of going, look, of course we're interested in Frankie de Jong. We've got your former manager here. We're trying to rebuild. We've got a project, all this kind of stuff. Frankie, do you want to come to us? Yes or no? If you do, great. I'm sure Erik ten Hag's done those phone calls, those 3, 4, 5, 10 phone calls to Frankie de Jong. But eventually you have to go, look, we need to know whether our time is worth it and money is worth investing into this one. If you're not interested because your line in the sand, your deal breaker is, I want to play Champions League football, well, obviously that's a non-starter with us next season because we can't offer that to you. We can maybe negotiate on money, and we can negotiate on terms for the future and all that kind of stuff. But if it's hard and fast, I want Champions League football, we can't offer you that. Looks more likely that Barca are sort of going, they haven't confirmed that he's going to leave. They're talking very much in sort of cryptics about, oh, wow, financial issues, and we've always got to be conscious.
Well, here's
of the
quote. Since you're on that, just while you're on that topic, Laporta, the last thing he said, which was yesterday, which is the most up-to-date thing of what we've got directly coming out of Barcelona. He says, Frankie de Jong, yes, we have received proposals, but he has great quality. We think he should continue at Barca. Selling players, right now, everything is open. In this case, will depend a lot on the issue of fair play. So it's the same thing. They don't want to lose this player, and this player doesn't want to leave. So if you think about it, the only thing that can make him leave are two things. One thing, financial fair play, and whether Barcelona can afford to keep him. And if he doesn't, that's where Erik ten Hag comes in. But it looks like already, I think it's fair to say, actually, the pull of Ten Hag doesn't seem to be enough. As it stands, we need the financial numbers not to number for us. Do you know what I mean? For Barcelona, so that they go, tell you what, Frankie. Even and again, they've demanded that they don't want nothing less than 80 million euros, supposedly. But if they need to sell, we might be able to push back on that. Well, you should be able to push back on that. But we need their need to sell to be high because of they need to break even because they want to bring in Lewandowski because it's not enough.
Yeah, and also as
Otherwise.
well, that's working with the assumption that if that financial fair play issue does really rear its head and he has to go, that's working under the assumption that we're the only club in for him, which we know we're probably not.
No.
And if there's multiple clubs and they are in the Champions League, and I hate to repeat myself, but we're losing that fight. We just are.
What if Chelsea coming for him? What if Chelsea like we're having a midfield reshuffle or Man City? Gundogan's going to go.
PSG.
You could easily see it. Anyone, anyone above us.
And again, that's not to be like, oh, United, we're terrible, blah blah blah. But again, if it's one thing to be like, okay, Barca, they don't want to sell him, but they've got to. Great, but that's not a one-horse race. It's not. And because you can't tell me that a player like Frankie de Jong, maybe it hasn't completely worked out for him at Barcelona, but he's still mid-20s, got a ton of pedigree, got experience in the latter stages of the Champions League, revered at Ajax. What, we'd be the only club interested in him? Of course not. They've said multiple proposals. So chances are that one of those multiple proposals are from Champions League clubs. And not just even Champions League clubs that are winning stuff at the moment. We're saying Champions League, but it might be City who just won the league. People can laugh at PSG, and rightfully so, but they're still going to win their league. You're still going to win trophies. Whether or not you're going to win European trophies and whether or not Mbappe is going to decide to play you, that's another question. But the point being is that it won't, or I'd be very, very, very surprised if it was a one-horse race. So I think going back to the original point, it's smart by Manchester United to be like, okay, let's not just, why are we chasing something that might not be there? If you're told you have to leave, would you be interested? If he goes, well, Champions League, they go, okay, fine, we'll just move on because we really don't have the time to waste this summer. If we just needed one midfielder and that was the only position we were going for, you go, okay, maybe drag it out a bit longer, maybe pursue it a little bit longer. When you're recruiting for 4 or 5 positions with a new manager, with a new football director, with a new recruitment process, with a new scouting process, with all the stuff that's going on, it just isn't viable to waste so much time on a player that might not even be coming in the first place.
Yeah, no, it's true. And the more this deal goes on, well, not deal, but the more this transfer rumor goes on, and the more you hear from Barca, and the more you weigh it up. For me, I'm just like, this is getting increasingly harder to do because I think if the willingness from De Jong to not be there was present, this would have been accelerated a lot quicker than this. And the Ten Hag effect, I think, would have accelerated this. And the only thing that can decelerate this or make this be where it is the fact that, De Jong actually wants to stay. So he's like, let me know what's going on. We have to wait. And the fact of the financial situation at Barcelona, where they're saying they want him. Xavi's speaking about him openly in press conferences. He's a beast. I want him here. He's saying all the buzzwords, Yes, he's saying, we'll have to wait and see economically, which we all know. But if he wasn't sure about him, he would be saying, there's many players who could be leaving this year. We'll have to wait and see. But when you publicly say, I'm not saying it can't happen, but when you say about the individual, he's this, he's that, I want him to stay, we want him to stay, etc., especially being Xavi, I just feel there's a lot in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think there's a lot in that. So
you look at it on the face value of it. There's a reluctance to sell. There's a reluctance to leave, and there might be a reluctance to join Man United. That seems pretty unlikely that deal's going to happen. That's the way that I look at it. And obviously that can and maybe will change over the course of the next few weeks. But even so, like I said, even if they're forced to sell, being Barcelona, and he's forced to leave, I still wouldn't be confident because I just don't see us being the only people that are interested. And as I mentioned before, I just don't think we're in a position where we should be wasting that much time when we've got so much to do.
And then we do have the thing of exactly as well as about the price, which we've spoken about a few days ago, maybe a week ago now. If it is true that they want in the region of 80 million euros, something's got to change big. Because there's got to be add-ons over a 5-year contract of installments that are a lot because we can't afford that. It's as simple as that. Or we can't afford to spend that straight away, 80 million out of our budget. 80 million euros. What's that in pounds? I don't even know. What, 70 odd? maybe. Is it? I don't
Yeah,
know
I
what the
mean, we
exchange
could.
rate
Well,
is.
we can afford to spend that money, but we can't if we want to buy 4 players or
4
5 players
players
this summer.
of relatively good quality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
With not with nobody of value leaving yet. You know, we'll talk a little bit about Anthony Martial in a little bit. You know, but we do know that Eric Ten Hag needs to generate some money through sales as well. So we have to wait and see what that looks like and who gets sold and for what money. And who's there. We'll talk a little bit about that. But I just feel like this deal's getting harder and harder to do. And unless something drastically changes, I think the only way this deal can happen is the obvious. They say, bloody hell, to get Lewandowski in, we've got to balance the books. And that means you're going to have to go. You know, the Dembele thing might happen where, imagine if Dembele stays. Again, when a club is run that tight knit in terms of they're living basically, you know, the term week to week or month to month in your paycheck. That's
yeah,
what they're doing. So if Dembele stays and signs a big deal, that's going to have a big effect. Do you know what I mean? They want to bring in Marcos Alonso as well from Chelsea. You know, that's going to have an effect. So
yeah.
there's
They're going to
and the
have to register
Lewandowski.
Frank Kessie. They're going to have to register Frank
I
Kessie. How
forgot
are they going
about
to do
that.
that?
Yeah, that's a done deal, isn't it?
I think that's a done
Done, I
deal. I
think.
mean, there were
Yeah.
rumors as well about Aubameyang's contract is set to actually increase. That was part of the
Oh
deal as well. So,
yeah. Brammy.
so there
There's a
is,
lot of moving parts, which is why they're what Barca are saying is we have to wait and see with financial. We have to wait because we don't even know.
yeah.
If
No,
they
there's
were
that
financially
scene.
secure, they'll be like, we'll be fine. Yeah, we can keep you. No
It's
problem.
that thing in The Hangover. What's the name with Alan? And he's got all those numbers spinning around his head. It's that's going on at the moment. He's going on.
Yeah,
I don't
bring on
know.
Haaland.
So we'll
Yeah,
have to wait and see.
it could be anything. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to play on and on and on. But I think the ultimatum is probably a good thing for Man United because, yeah, we can only wait so long. However, before we move on, back to Ten Hag, if it's what Ten Hag wants, and that's the player, he's like, listen, I know he will be the guy, wait it out. Then what? Because you got that's weighing up transfer strategy with Ten Hag versus, you know, practicality, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because we've got a lot to get done. But if he's dead set on him because he knows him like the back of his hand and knows is exactly what we need and would rather work with what we've got until we get him, it could be one of those. You know, he might love
But
him that much.
that would have to take some kind of commitment from De Jong, wouldn't it? He
Yeah,
would have
some
to have that
assurance.
conversation.
Yeah.
And De Jong would have to say to him, "Oh,
If I
you
can't
know,
stay here, I will come.
yeah, I will come." And I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
Lies. Just pick up for a lie.
Mm,
Yeah, exactly. So smash a like on the video, subscribe if you guys are new. That's the latest coming out about Frankie de Jong. There's been an ultimatum. Manchester United have basically said, look, mate, we want you. What are you saying? In layman's terms, what are you saying?
yeah.
Um, reports, obviously, we covered it earlier this morning, talking about Nkunku interest, that Manchester United were looking at him, discussing him internally and looking at it. Now we seem to have a situation where some are reporting that a bid is incoming. And it could arrive as early as next week. I still think it's unlikely, personally, but we're now getting news that he may even he may even receive a bid, and Leipzig aren't as opposed to selling as some people may have thought. Do you think a bid's incoming within a week?
I mean, obviously at this point, there's probably no doubt that they're interested. I think a lot of clubs are interested. Again, as I mentioned this morning, and I mentioned about the Frankie de Jong deal, I think this is a really hard one to do. 3 years left on his contract. Leipzig aren't even in a financial position they have to sell. They're in the Champions League. They want to keep their best player. It would take a lot. We don't necessarily have that much to invest on one player, which again would be a concern. United might test the water, maybe, and maybe open those kind of dialogues. I think part of that report said that there'd been good contact between Man United and Nkunku's management. So maybe informally, those conversations have happened of him like, yeah, I would be interested in coming to United. Or maybe Ten Hag has had a conversation with Nkunku's like, yeah, I'd be willing to come. That's fine, but you've still got to negotiate with the club. You've still got to agree that fee. They always say, don't they? The personal terms are actually the easy part. That's why they do them first to get that kind of done. The longest bit is when you're negotiating with the club and you've got to find that fee. And that's difficult. That's going to be difficult. If Leipzig are just firmly, we're not going to sell, we don't need to sell, then again, a bit like with the De Jong thing, we've got to move on. We can't be dilly-dallying around. Maybe that one is something we can revisit in a year's time. But as I mentioned this morning, I still would prefer that attacking option to be a traditional number 9. I still have my reservations about bringing in yet another winger, but if it's what Ten Hag wants, Flex, that's going to be the sword yeah. No.
Just to take you guys on the timeline to give you guys a bit more perspective as to what's happening per quote and where this is coming from. Florian Plattenberg, he's a journalist for Sky Sports out there in Germany. On May the 10th, he gave an update on Nkunku saying that Tuchel is highly interested in Nkunku, but the player has got an offer from Leipzig to extend. They don't want to sell him this summer. Right now, no release clause, and Man United are also interested, especially Ranić. That was on May the 10th, which we know. Fast forward to today, he provides the update, and he says, yes, there is good contact between Man United and the players' management, Nkunku's. It is said that an official bid could arrive in Leipzig next week. United bosses rate him as very good. Ranić recommended his transfer as reported. RB Leipzig still won't sell. So he's saying that they won't sell. And other reports have suggested that no, Leipzig always say this, we won't, hands off and stuff, and then eventually you can get the player. Truth is probably somewhere in between. I still think this is an incredibly unlikely deal. I don't see it happening at all. I do think, again, Man United like him. Yeah, I do think Ralph Ranić was like, yeah, we've had the reports of Ralph that Ralph said,
what does that even mean, though? What does that even mean? Whether Ralph made his recommendation, we know what that means. Nothing. It means absolutely zero. They're not listening to him. We've heard all of this stuff, what's going on from the players and from the board. There's still conversations about what even he's really going to be doing. They're saying recruitment, but you've got some people going, yeah, but he's going to be more focused on being the Austria manager. They didn't listen to him when he even just raised the point about signing people in January. I mean, that bit, whenever I hear that bit of, Ranić recommended it to the board, wow. Means
exactly.
nothing.
What does it mean?
He might as well have not done it. So I think, like we said, I have no doubt that United are interested. I do think this is a difficult one to do, considering the length of time on his contract and considering how firm Leipzig seemingly are when it comes to not selling. Doesn't necessarily mean a deal couldn't be done. It just means it would cost a lot of money. That's the thing. When clubs say, oh, we're not interested in selling, sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean that. It more means, well,
unless you give us this.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's talk 80. That kind of thing. You go, oh, okay, no, sorry.
Yeah. Then you're like, oh, okay, no, I'm not on that. But they would consider selling for something along those lines. Yeah, I still think it's a difficult thing to do. I really do. I just don't see it happening at all. If I'm deadly honest with you, I feel like it's too far out. And actually, why would Nkunku want to come to Man United as well? You have to look at that. What is the reason? Would it be to further his career? Okay, cool, fair enough. But he's got a new deal at the table at Leipzig. They're in the Champions League. Chelsea are interested. If it's a shootout between us and Chelsea, I don't know. That's a tough one. You know what I mean? I know, the badge weighs heavy, and Man United and but like we've been saying a lot of times, we don't have the same lure. You know what I mean? Especially because we're in the Europa League. We are literally in the Europa League and rebuilding. Ten Hag could be a bit of a pull, yes, but over Tuchel, don't know. And a Chelsea that competes every year for something. You know what I mean? They compete. Well, they put themselves in a position to win something every year.
Chelsea and a Chelsea that's got a new owner that's probably going to want to make a statement in terms of a marquee signing of, oh, by the way, new era. This is my first big signing. This is what we're going to be. We mean business going forward. And they've even made commitments about how much money they're willing to invest into the club. So they're going to have a big transfer window because, again, that new owner is going to have to get those fans somewhat on their side of being like, oh, I know you might have some concerns or reservations about us because other American owners in the Premier League, all that kind of thing. Chelsea, I would keep an eye on Chelsea this summer because I do think they're going to go bigger than maybe people think.
They're going to cook.
That they are.
They're going to cook. Yeah. They are. They are going to cook. And they're on it exactly 100%. There's a little bit on Timber. Sky Sports were kind of reporting that Man United are on the brink of signing 30 million defender Timber with Erik ten Hag set to raid old club. That was earlier on today. Sky Sports going strong with that. But I don't know. Again, that out of all the deals seems the most likely, so no surprises there.
Yeah.
That's the one gathering pace. That's the one a lot of people are saying. Some people are saying he's 100% coming to Man United. Some people have said that the deal's nearly done. It's in the final stages. Some people say there's a little bit way to do. So it depends who you ask in it. But I do think that's the most likely. And Anthony Martial, Sammy Luckhurst was saying that he's basically on the shopping list. He's on the transfer list. Let's get into that a little bit, because some people were instantly saying, well, why see, and Rashford's staying. People want to give Rashford time, but look at Martial, same thing. I agree. I see what you said. The same with both. They both have flattered to deceive, have not nailed it down. Is he a striker? Isn't he a striker? We've had it with both. So I agree with that. And to keep it fair, again, if the manager wants to sell either of them, I said it on the Flexing KG show when we were saying about the Rashford thing. I'm not going to be banging down the door saying, I can't believe Ten Hag's selling Rashford, or I can't believe Ten Hag's selling Martial. Anyone can get it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think, like we were saying, I think if Ten Hag's happy for those players to leave, I'm fine with it. Again, we kind of spoke about the other day that people, it's a difficult conversation to have by saying clean slate, fresh start, because it's not after what's happened this season. It feels you can't forget, even though we kind of have to, because in the new manager's eyes, he doesn't really care that much about what's happened this season. He's just looking forward. He said it so in the press conference. When it comes to Martial, and we're not going to differ from this because this has been my opinion before, I am a bit tired of having that conversation of, can this person get a tune out of Martial? Is this going to be the time? That you have to look at his loan move to Sevilla as nothing but a disaster. I mean, even the Sevilla president pretty much said it himself, said, look, I know we weren't paying his whole wages, and I know we didn't buy him, but we spent a lot of money for a club like us to come to Sevilla, and he got a few injuries, and it didn't work out. I remember after his first game, Lopetegui said in an interview, he has to do a lot more. And that would be a concern. And ultimately, this does look to be a player that just doesn't want to be at the club. I think he's made his mind up that he wants to leave Manchester United. I think if he could have left on a permanent deal in January, he would have. I always felt like it was more the club sort of saying, well, maybe see how you feel in 6 months' time, and maybe it's a bit of a difficult deal to do permanently now. But there will still be clubs that will be willing to have him. Make no mistake. There'll be clubs that want to buy Anthony Martial, but
100%.
He is on a big contract. You would wonder if some clubs would be willing to pay those kind of wages. So I'm leaning more towards he might be one of the most high-profile departures this summer. But and this isn't just sitting on the fence, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's in that first squad on the first opening game of the Premier League season. And then we have to just, like we were saying, then we just have to go with, well, let's see if Ten Hag can get something out of him, right? Let's see. And let's be honest, even though it hasn't worked out for him at Sevilla, there were points, certainly after January, where we probably could have used him. Definitely. When we had
100%.
no attacking options.
He would have
It
played.
would have been useful to have him. Exactly. But I'm one of those ones where I'm very tired of having that Martial conversation.
Yeah, I think it's like Rashford. I know people have said, like, when they asked me specifically, would I give him a new contract or would I sell him or whatever with the Rashford situation, I have kind of said, well, under a new manager, because we can't get rid of them all. I don't think we can get rid of them all. If Ten Hag wants to give him another year, I'd give him another year. If he doesn't prove anything, see you later. You can get it. He is kind of in the same boat as Martial, though, to be fair. I get it. If he was to go this year, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fine.
No,
so
I agree. Same with Rashford.
There's not one person in this squad. Just think before I say it. David De Gea, we spoke about this morning. If he was the plus, there's not one person in this squad that I'm attached to and be devastated if they were sold. Not one.
No. I agree. I absolutely agree, because there would be even our best players, even people like Ronaldo.
Yeah,
there could be rationale behind it of sort of going, well, it's not future.
Well, Jamie Carragher is saying,
Yeah.
the biggest thing Eric Ten Hag needs to do is make a statement and get rid of Ronaldo, build a team.
Don't know about that one, but
yeah, I know, but yeah, just
but the point. But I agree with the point that any player, there could be a reason behind them leaving, and I wouldn't stand in the way of it. I wouldn't be like, oh, it's a terrible decision. Say with Rashford, would I give Rashford? That's why I find it funny, the whole Rashford wants to commit to the club and sign a new contract. You realise you do have to kind of earn it. You know,
Yeah,
and
he better
can you
have
imagine?
to earn it. I
You
hope the
imagine
club don't just
the nerve. Imagine I'm doing a terrible job here on the channel, right? I'm not showing up. I'm not presenting shows. I'm not doing whatever. And then I go, Flex, it's time we talk about a new contract. You'd be like, you're taking the piss.
100%.
Yeah, like
100%.
that's how that's how
Can't
it
run.
works. You know, so
That can't run.
no. And with Rashford, like I said, it's a lot of reason. There's been a lot of reasons given as to why he's not been playing well. Pre-season injuries last year. Rangnick doesn't like him.
There's
In and
so
out of
many
squad.
excuses in it.
Moved
So many.
around. When is it just going to be? You know what? I haven't been very good, and hopefully I'll be better next season. And I'm going to work really hard.
Yeah.
That's it.
Where did you stand on the Rashford? Because me and KG obviously got into it on the Flex and KG show the other day. Just quickly, where did you stand on that? Like, with because I said I was going to ask you on another show and I didn't end up doing it. With wiping the slate with the players because out of default, not because you want to, but out of default. Versus these. How could you have faith in any of these players? You know exactly what outcome you're going to get. Where do you stand on that?
I totally get it because I'm one of those people. It's probably one of my worst character faults is that I hold a grudge. I can't forget. It's very difficult to, and you can't. And with everything that has happened over the past season, it's so difficult, isn't it? It's tough. It's tough to be like, okay, these guys, I trust them. Yeah. I believe in them because a lot of that belief, the small amount that maybe people had, just got absolutely eradicated.
Yeah,
but. I do agree with what you and KG were saying the other day, and it is so true that for what it's worth, we just can't go into the next season with that negativity. We can't. We've almost got to give the benefit of the doubt, even though we don't want to, and they haven't earned it, and they don't deserve it. We have to give the benefit of the doubt of, okay, we'll be behind you and we'll back you. And to be honest, people still show up to every single home game and away game, and they still cheer on, even when they knew we were going to lose.
And
they know it, and they know we're shit. So I don't expect them not to do that next season, but I think there's got to be a bit of give and take there as well. The players do have to be like, we appreciate it. We don't deserve it. We appreciate it, and show something. Because at this point, all the United fans are looking for is something. Just give us anything.
Give us
something.
100%.
We don't want to, you don't deserve it, and you don't deserve the back end. We don't want to wipe the slate clean. A couple of good performances, and that will disappear. And we will be willing to give you the benefit of the doubt again. But as of right now, they haven't earned it. But I agree with what you were saying the other day. We have to almost have this discussion with ourselves of, I don't want to do it. It's through gritted teeth.
Where's your cutoff point? Yeah, where's your cutoff point? But a lot of people's cutoff point is nowhere near now because it hasn't even been a week since the season's been over.
Exactly.
So really, these conversations actually need to. I guarantee you, I can almost guarantee this. And you guys watching at home, if you think I'm completely wrong because you can't see yourself doing this, fair play. Let me know in the comments below. I can see once we get 4 or 5 signings and go through pre-season and it looks like we're building something just through the signings that we've made and the people that have left and gone, but some of the annoying players are still there who haven't done very well. I guarantee you there'll be a different feeling.
That's what I was going to say.
Because
that's
it's
why
first game of the
is
season.
Important. That's why pre-season is key. If we have a good pre-season, I do think people will be willing to have, okay, that was last season, things have changed. This kind of thing.
Not it's the signings. Anything. Once they see the first batch of changes, there's still a long way to go. Like I said, we can't skip phases. Phase 1 is get rid of the defaults. The defaults are Lingard, Pogba, Matic, and then you add into that the likes of a Bailly, the likes of a Phil Jones,
Henderson,
Martial. Let's just say them as a safe 7.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you can't, by the time you get to, when you start looking at Tellez and maybe even Wan-Bissaka actually was trying to sell him. But when you look at the active playing team, the centre halves and stuff, like if you look at Maguire and Lindelof and Varane, and then you look at McTominay and Fred, you look at Elanga, Rashford, it takes a while to get to those lot. The immediates need to happen. So I think in phase 1, we'll see obviously Pogba and Lingard, definite. You'll see probably Bailly Jones, that's 4. And Henderson will get a move either on loan or whatever. So that's 5.
Yeah.
And then the Martial situation, I think he'll get sold. So there's your 6.
Yeah.
Once people see those 6 leave and then say 4 come in, and then a youth player gets, Hannibal's going to be on the bench every year, or Garnacho or Mengi or Laird or whoever it is. I don't know. But whoever it is, James Garner might be in the squad and stay for a bit or something. I don't know. But once people see the 4 signings come in and the 6 leave, I feel like there'll just be a little, not, oh, wicked, we're back, and nothing like that, but
No.
just not as negative as it is right now in this moment.
Yeah, because they'll be like, well, it's a slightly different group, you know, and at the very least, you can back the new players because they haven't done anything wrong yet.
Exactly.
So you can latch onto them.
Ahmad back in. You know,
Yeah,
Ahmad might come
Donny.
back in, be playing in preseason. Donny's back in there. You know, especially if we start. Imagine in our first, like, obviously it's against Liverpool first, and I think we got Villa, then we got is it Palace?
Palace.
Yeah, Palace, and then the one in Oslo as well against Atletico.
Yeah.
Imagine if in them games we could see a pattern of, say, I don't know, Donny, new midfielder who comes in, and Bruno.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, Ahmad on the right and Sancho on the left with Ronaldo and forward coming in.
Yeah.
Then you see Timber with Maguire, but let's just say Timber. You see Timber, Shaw's just bombing on, doing his little thing because he's got a bit of a resurgence, free season, he's trying now. And then a new fullback, or Timber at right back, and then Lindelof and another centre back, or whatever. I don't know. But you know, it starts to you just start to go, okay, let me see where this is going. Do you know what I mean?
And right now, I know. And again, I think people might be a bit easier to latch onto because it's not the exact same group. There are new players, new coach. I'm not going to say it feels different, but it would
don't say that.
Do not. But it would appear to be somewhat different in terms of from last season, and that would be
I don't even
positive.
like you saying that. don't even like you saying it will appear to be somewhat different. Even that's dangerous. Just the word different. Just say not the same. It's not the same.
No,
maybe that's the new one going forward. But anyway, guys, smash the like on the video, subscribe if you're new. Let us know your thoughts on the Jong ultimatum. Our Manchester United right to start kind of putting a bit of pressure on the situation to see where he's at. Should Manchester United hold out? Because, you know, the likeliness is that Barca won't be able to afford to keep him. Manchester United need to be ready and waiting. Or should Man United set a deadline and say, listen, if you're not ready by X, then we're out. And Nkunku bid, do you think that's true? Do you think there could be a bid coming in within the next week? And do you want there to be a bid coming in within the next week? Do you want Christopher Nkunku to come to Manchester United? Let us know about that. Martial, how much would he fetch? How much would we be able to get for him? And should he leave? You know, some people might say, well, if he's going to leave, then Rashford should leave. I'd sell Rashford before I sell Martial. Some people are still in that camp. Let us know how you feel about that. And just all of what we've covered as well. Let us know about that as well. We are out of it, guys. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow with another video. Peace.